Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the huge warship called Vengeance. The ship was bigger than most cities and carried enough weapons to destroy planets. Jake had been a soldier for 20 years and commanded this ship for the last 5. He was known for being calm during fights and smart about tactics. The bridge was quiet except for the soft hum of computers and the steady beeping of sensors. Jake watched the stars through the main window. His ship was on patrol near the edge of human space looking for trouble. Space was dangerous, and humans had learned to be ready for anything. Suddenly, the communication officer looked up from her station. Lieutenant Amy Foster was young but very good at her job. She had joined the fleet 3 years ago and could fix almost any piece of technology on the ship. "Commander Morrison, I'm getting something strange," Amy said. Her voice was excited but worried. "It's an old emergency signal. Very old frequency that nobody uses anymore." Jake walked over to her station. "Put it on the main speakers." The voice that came through was not human. It was higher and softer with a strange accent. The words were in standard galactic language, which most humans could understand. "This is Captain Zektar of the Vixian research vessel, Peaceful Dawn. We are under attack by Krellian pirates. Our weapons are down, shields failing. We have civilians aboard, including younglings. Please, anyone who receives this, we need immediate assistance." The message repeated 3 times, then stopped. The bridge was silent for a moment. Jake knew about the Vixians. They were small, gentle aliens who spent their time studying science and exploring space. They never hurt anyone and were known for being peaceful. "Where is the signal coming from?" Jake asked. Amy checked her computers. "The Kepler 442 system, sir. About 2 days away at full speed." Jake thought quickly. The Krellians were bad news. They were pirates who attacked ships, stole cargo, and sold people as slaves. They were cruel and enjoyed hurting others. If they had attacked a Vixian research ship, it meant they were planning something terrible. "Send an emergency message to Earth Command," Jake ordered. "Tell them we have a situation." Within minutes, Jake's message reached Admiral Lisa Parker at Earth Command. She was in charge of the 3rd Fleet and was known as one of the best military leaders in human space. She had fought in many battles and never lost one. Admiral Parker sat in her office reading reports when the message came in. She was a tough woman in her 50s with gray hair and sharp eyes. When she read about the Vixian ship, her face became hard. She called her staff immediately. "I want a full fleet ready to move in 2 hours. This is a rescue mission, but we're going in ready for war." Captain Ryan Davis was in the training room when the alert came. He commanded a destroyer called Warhammer and was known for being aggressive in battle. He was also known for protecting innocent people. When he heard about the Vixian children, he volunteered his ship to go first. "We'll scout ahead," Ryan told the admiral. "If the pirates are still there, we'll keep them busy until the fleet arrives." "Admiral," Parker nodded. "Good, but remember, Ryan, we don't know how many ships they have. Don't do anything stupid." Ryan smiled grimly. "Don't worry, Admiral. I'll save some pirates for the rest of the fleet." As the human ships prepared to leave, news of the attack spread through the fleet. Lieutenant Colonel Steve Mitchell was in charge of the Marines on the ship Thunder. When he heard about the Vixian children in danger, he started preparing his soldiers for battle. "Listen up," Steve told his Marines. "We're going to rescue some civilians from pirates. These pirates hurt children. I want every weapon checked, every piece of armor ready. We're going to show these pirates why nobody messes with innocents when humans are around." The Marines cheered. They had trained for this kind of mission their whole careers. Back on the Vengeance, Jake watched as more ships joined the fleet. 12 destroyers, 8 cruisers, 4 battleships, and 2 dreadnoughts. It was enough firepower to fight a small war. But Jake knew it might not be enough if the pirates had called for help. Amy Foster finished checking all the ship's weapons. Every railgun was loaded, every plasma cannon was charged, and every torpedo tube was full. The Vengeance was ready for battle. "Commander," Amy reported, "all weapons are green. We're ready for anything." Jake nodded. He thought about the Vixian captain's voice in the distress call. The alien had sounded scared but brave. He was trying to protect his people, especially the children on his ship. Jake had heard stories about what pirates did to prisoners. The thought made him angry. Humans had a reputation in the galaxy for being violent and dangerous. Other aliens called them Deathworlders because they came from a planet where everything tried to kill them. But humans were also known for protecting the weak. All ships prepare for quantum jump. Admiral Parker's voice came over the communication system. We're going to get those people back. Jake felt the familiar feeling in his stomach as the ship's quantum drive started up. The stars outside began to blur as the ship prepared to jump across space faster than light. Jumping in 3, 2, 1, mark. The universe disappeared in a flash of light, and the human fleet began their journey to save the Vixians. They didn't know it yet, but this rescue mission would change the galaxy forever. The pirates who attacked innocent people were about to learn why humans were feared across the stars. In space, there were no rules except the ones you made with your weapons, and the humans were bringing a lot of weapons. Captain Gorek smiled as he looked at the damaged alien ship floating in front of him. The Vixian research vessel was helpless, its engines dark and weapons destroyed. Smoke drifted from several holes in its hull where his pirates had hit it with plasma cannons. Gorek was a big, ugly alien with scars covering his face and arms. He had been a pirate for 30 years and had attacked hundreds of ships. He enjoyed the fear in his victims' eyes when they realized they were going to die or become slaves. How many are on board? Gorek asked his second in command, a thin alien named Vex. 37 life signs, Captain, Vex replied, looking at his scanner. 12 of them are younglings. Gorek laughed. Good. Young ones sell for more money. The adults can work in the mines until they die. 8 Krellian ships surrounded the Vixian vessel like hungry wolves. They were not big ships, built for speed and surprise attacks rather than real battles, but they had enough firepower to destroy civilian ships and capture crews. Prepare the boarding pods, Gorek ordered. I want that ship taken intact. Their technology will bring good money on the black market. On the Vixian ship, Captain Zektar tried to keep his crew calm. He was a small alien with large, intelligent eyes and gray skin. His people were peaceful scientists who had never hurt anyone. They studied planets and stars, always looking to learn new things. Captain, the life support system is failing, his engineer reported. The alien's voice was weak and scared. We have maybe 2 hours of air left. Zektar looked around, his damaged bridge. Half of his crew were injured and the younglings were crying in the lower decks. He had sent the distress signal hours ago, but no one had answered. Space was big and empty and help might not come in time. Keep trying to fix the engines, Zektar told his crew. If we can get power back, maybe we can escape. But he knew. It was hopeless. The pirates had been smart, hitting the engine room first. His ship was not going anywhere. Sir, his communications officer whispered. I'm detecting new ships approaching. Big ones. Zektar felt a small bit of hope. Maybe someone had heard their call for help. But when he looked at the sensor readings, his hope turned to fear. The approaching ships were huge, much bigger than anything he had ever seen. Far away in space, Captain Ryan Davis stood on the bridge of his destroyer Warhammer. His ship had just dropped out of quantum space at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. Ryan was a tough man in his 40s with short black hair and cold blue eyes. He had fought pirates before and hated them all. What do you see? Ryan asked his sensor officer. 1 Vixian research ship, heavily damaged. 8 Krellian raiders surrounding it. The Vixians are still alive, but their ship is in bad shape. Ryan studied the tactical display. The Krellian ships were small and weak compared to his destroyer. But there were 8 of them, and they might try to kill the Vixians before he could stop them. Send a message to Admiral Parker, Ryan ordered. Tell her the situation, then prepare for battle. Sir, shouldn't we try to talk to the pirates first? His weapons officer asked. Ryan's face became hard. They attacked a ship full of children. Talking time is over. Meanwhile, on the Krellian command ship, Gorek was getting worried. His sensors showed the approaching human vessel, and the energy readings were scary. The ship was small compared to a battleship, but it carried more weapons than his entire fleet. Captain, that's a human destroyer, Vex said, his voice shaking. Maybe we should leave. Gorek had heard stories about humans. They were called Deathworlders because they came from a dangerous planet where everything tried to kill them. This made them tough fighters who never gave up. But Gorix was greedy and had never met humans in battle. 1 ship against 8? Those odds are good enough for me, Gorix said. Besides, humans are just animals. How dangerous can they be? He was about to find out. Back on the Vixian ship, Captain Zektar watched his sensors as more human ships appeared. First 1, then 2, then 12 destroyers dropped out of quantum space in perfect formation. Behind them came bigger ships, cruisers and battleships that made space itself seem small. By the ancient stars, Zektar whispered. How many ships do they have? His communications officer was crying with relief. Captain, we're getting a message from the human fleet. A calm human voice filled the bridge. Vixian vessel, this is Commander Morrison of the human ship Vengeance. We received your distress call. Are you in immediate danger? Yes, Zektar replied quickly. The pirates damaged our ship. We have injured crew and our life support is failing. Please help us. Understood. Stay calm and keep your people safe. We'll handle the pirates. Zektar felt hope for the first time in hours. But he also felt something else. Fear. Not fear of the pirates anymore, but fear of what the humans might do to them. He had heard stories about human warfare, about their terrible weapons and ruthless tactics. Admiral Parker's voice cut across all radio frequencies in the system. Her words were cold and final. This is Admiral Lisa Parker of the United Earth Fleet. You have attacked a civilian vessel carrying children. Surrender now or face the consequences. Gorix laughed at the message. Humans think they can scare us. Show them what Krellian pirates can do. All ships attack. The pirate ships turned toward the human fleet, their weapons charging. But they were too slow and too weak. They had made the biggest mistake of their lives. They had threatened children while humans were watching. Captain Ryan Davis smiled as his weapons officer reported all systems ready. Fire when ready, he said quietly. The battle was about to begin and it would be over very quickly. Captain Ryan Davis did not wait for the pirates to get closer. His destroyer Warhammer was already locked onto the nearest Krellian ship. The main railgun, a massive weapon that could punch through a moon, was fully charged and ready. Fire, Ryan said calmly. The railgun spoke with a sound like thunder. A piece of metal the size of a car shot out at incredible speed, moving so fast it was just a blur of light. It hit the lead pirate ship right in the middle. The Krellian cruiser exploded like a giant firework. Metal pieces flew everywhere as the ship broke apart. The explosion was so bright it lit up the darkness of space like a small sun. In 3 seconds, 30 pirates were dead. Target destroyed, the weapons officer reported. Next target, Ryan ordered. Captain Gorix watched his best ship disappear and felt fear for the first time in years. The human weapon was more powerful than anything he had ever seen. His ship's shields would not stop a blast like that. All ships retreat, Gorix screamed into his radio. Get us out of here. But it was too late. More human ships were arriving every second. Admiral Parker's battlecruiser Retribution dropped out of quantum space with guns already firing. Plasma beams, bright as lightning, reached across space and touched 2 more pirate ships. The Krellian vessels tried to turn and run, but human weapons were too fast. The plasma beams melted through their shields like they were made of paper. The ships exploded one after another, filling space with fire and metal. Lieutenant Amy Foster watched the battle from the bridge of the Vengeance. She had never seen anything like it. The human fleet was destroying the pirates with perfect precision. Every shot hit its target. Every weapon fired at exactly the right time. It's like watching a dance, she whispered to herself. Commander Jake Morrison stood behind her, watching the tactical display. 8 red dots representing pirate ships were disappearing one by one. The human fleet had not taken a single hit. How long has it been? Jake asked. 2 minutes and 15 seconds since the first shot, Amy replied. On the Vixian ship, Captain Zektar and his crew watched through their damaged windows. The human fleet was like nothing they had ever imagined. Each ship moved with purpose, firing weapons that seemed to come from their worst nightmares. The pirates who had seemed so dangerous were being destroyed like insects. By the ancient gods, Zektar's engineer whispered, "Look at that firepower." A human cruiser called Thunder fired a spread of torpedoes at 3 pirate ships that were trying to escape. The torpedoes were small but deadly, each one carrying enough explosive power to level a city. They caught the fleeing ships and turned them into clouds of glowing gas. Lieutenant Colonel Steve Mitchell watched the battle from the Thunder's bridge. His Marines were ready to board any pirate ship that survived, but it looked like there would be nothing left to board. "Sir, should we try to capture some of them alive?" his second-in-command asked. Steve's face was hard as stone. "They attacked children. There will be no prisoners today." The last 2 pirate ships were trying to reach the edge of the system where they could jump to safety, but human destroyers were faster. Captain Danny Warren, commanding the destroyer Falcon, cut off their escape route with perfect timing. "Nowhere to run," Danny said into his radio, speaking to the pirates. "You should have thought about the children." His ship's weapons fired twice. 2 more explosions lit up space. Captain Gorix was alone now, his command ship the only one left. All around him, the metal pieces of his fleet drifted in space. 30 years of piracy had ended in less than 4 minutes. "Please," he begged over the radio. "I surrender, don't kill me." Admiral Parker's voice answered him cold and without emotion. "You had your chance to surrender. You chose to attack innocent people instead." The battlecruiser Retribution fired its main guns. The plasma beams reached across space and touched Gorix's ship. The pirate captain had just enough time to scream. Before his ship exploded like all the others, the battle was over. 8 pirate ships had become floating metal and gas. Not a single pirate had survived. The human fleet had used less than 5% of its total firepower. "All ships, cease fire," Admiral Parker ordered. "Secure the area and prepare rescue operations." Commander Morrison opened a communication channel to the Vixian ship. His voice was gentle now, completely different from the warrior who had just destroyed a fleet. "Vixian vessel, this is Commander Morrison. The pirates are gone. You are safe now. Do you need medical help?" Captain Zektar found his voice after several tries. "Yes, we have wounded. Our life support is failing. Some of our people are hurt badly. We're sending medical teams and engineers right now. Just stay calm. Everything will be fine." Within minutes, small human ships left the fleet and flew toward the damaged Vixian vessel. They carried doctors, nurses, and engineers who would fix the research ship and heal the wounded aliens. On the bridge of the Vengeance, Lieutenant Amy Foster was checking the battle reports. "Commander, we fired a total of 47 shots. Every single one hit its target. No human casualties, no damage to our ships." Jake nodded. The battle had been perfect, but he felt no joy. Fighting was necessary sometimes, but it was never something to celebrate. The pirates had chosen their fate when they attacked innocent people. "Send a message to Earth Command," Jake ordered. "Tell them the rescue mission was successful. The civilians are safe." As the human medical teams worked to save the Vixian crew, word of the battle began to spread across the galaxy. Pirates, slavers, and other criminals who heard the story would think twice before attacking civilian ships. The humans had sent a message that was clear and simple: harm the innocent and face the consequences. Captain Zektar watched human doctors work to save his injured crew members. These same humans had just destroyed 8 ships without mercy, but now they were being gentle and kind to his people. He was beginning to understand why the galaxy both feared and respected the Deathworlders from Earth. The news spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Within hours, every major news network was reporting the same incredible story. The Galactic News Network ran the headline in huge letters: "Human fleet destroys 8 pirate ships in 4 minutes. No survivors." On the Vixian homeworld, a beautiful planet covered in blue oceans and green forests, the High Council gathered in their crystal meeting hall. These were the wisest Vixians, leaders who had guided their people for hundreds of years. They sat in a circle, their large eyes reflecting worry and amazement. Captain Zektar stood in the center of the circle. His ship had been repaired by human engineers and was now stronger than ever. The doctors had saved all his crew, including the 12 younglings who were now heroes to their families. "Tell us exactly what happened," said Council Leader Vethra, an ancient Vixian with silver skin and kind eyes. Zektar took a deep breath. "The pirates surrounded us. We thought we were going to die. Then the humans came. They arrived in formation, like they had practiced this battle 1,000 times. Their ships were bigger and more powerful than anything I had ever seen." "How long did the battle last?" asked another council member. 4 minutes and 37 seconds, Zektar replied. "The humans did not miss a single shot. They destroyed every pirate ship without taking any damage themselves. It was like watching gods of war at work." The council members looked at each other with amazement. They had heard stories about human military power, but this was beyond anything they had imagined. "And after the battle?" Vethra asked. Zektar's voice became softer. "They helped us. Human doctors saved our wounded. Their engineers fixed our ship. They asked for nothing in return except that we were safe. Commander Morrison even gave toys to the younglings to help them feel better." Council Leader Vethra nodded slowly. "The humans are truly strange. They can be terrible in war, but gentle in peace." Meanwhile, on the other side of the galaxy, the criminal underworld was in panic. On the space station Deep Space Nine, a rough place where pirates, smugglers, and thieves gathered, aliens whispered in dark corners about the human attack. Krex, a scarred alien pirate, sat at a table with 3 other criminals. His hands shook as he held his drink. "I knew Gorix for 20 years. He was mean and smart and had the best ships. The humans killed him like he was nothing." "8 ships, said another pirate, shaking his head. 8 ships gone in 4 minutes, how is that possible?" A third criminal, a smuggler named Voss, leaned forward. "I heard they did not even use their biggest weapons. The humans have ships that can destroy planets. What we saw was just a small part of their power." The fourth alien, an old thief, spoke quietly. "My cousin works on a trading ship. He says pirate attacks have dropped by half since the news came out. Everyone is too scared to attack civilian vessels now." Krex finished his drink and stood up. "I'm done with piracy. The humans are watching now. One wrong move and they will turn us into space dust." The others nodded. Across the galaxy, criminals were making the same decision. The risk was too great now that the humans were actively protecting innocent ships. On the military world of Graxis, home to some of the galaxy's best soldiers, General Thane studied the battle footage in his war room. The Graxians were proud warriors who had never lost a battle. They respected strength and tactical skill above all else. "Run it again," Thane ordered his aide. The holographic display showed the human fleet arriving and destroying the pirates. Thane watched every movement, every shot, every decision. As a military expert, he could see the perfect coordination and discipline of the human crews. "Analysis?" Thane asked his staff. "Superior firepower, perfect timing, and flawless execution," replied his chief tactical officer. "But more than that, they showed complete commitment. No hesitation, no mercy for those who attacked civilians." General Thane nodded with respect. "The humans fight like Graxians, but with better technology. They would be dangerous enemies, but valuable allies." On the planet Zentor, known for producing the galaxy's smartest military strategists, Commander Kixith gave a lecture to a room full of officers. A holographic display showed the tactical situation at Kepler 4042. "What can we learn from this battle?" Kixith asked his students. A young officer raised his hand. "The humans used overwhelming force to ensure quick victory." "Correct, but incomplete," Kixith replied. "The humans could have sent one battleship and still won easily. Instead, they sent an entire fleet." "Why?" another student answered. "To send a message to other criminals." Exactly. This was not just a rescue mission. It was a demonstration of power. The humans wanted every pirate, slaver, and criminal in the galaxy to see what happens when you attack innocent people. Back on Earth, Admiral Parker sat in her office, reading reports from across the galaxy. Her aide, Captain Danny Warren, entered with a data pad full of intelligence updates. "Admiral, the results are better than we hoped," Danny reported. "Pirate activity has dropped 60% in the last week. 3 major criminal organizations have gone into hiding. Trade routes that were dangerous for years are now peaceful." Parker nodded with satisfaction. "Good. Maybe now families can travel without fear." "There is something else," Danny continued. "We are getting reports of increased military activity in hegemony space. They are building more ships and moving fleets toward the border regions." Admiral Parker's expression became serious. The hegemony was a military empire that had conquered dozens of worlds. They ruled through fear and force, enslaving entire populations. If they saw humanity as a threat to their expansion plans, war might be coming. "How long before they move?" Parker asked. "Intelligence. Estimate 6 months, maybe less. They are targeting the Vixian system first. They want to draw us into a fight." Parker stood and walked to the window overlooking Earth's orbital shipyards. Hundreds of human warships were under construction, their hulls gleaming in the sunlight. The sight filled her with both pride and sadness. Humans were good at building things, but they were even better at destroying them when necessary. "Then we will give them a fight they will never forget," Parker said quietly. The rescue of the Vixian research ship had started something bigger than anyone realized. The galaxy was watching now, and 2 of its most powerful forces were on a collision course. But the humans had made their position clear. They would protect the innocent no matter the cost. The age of pirates attacking defenseless ships was ending. The age of human protection was beginning. 3 months after the battle at Kepler 442, the galaxy was a different place. Trade ships traveled safely through space lanes that had been dangerous for decades. Families could visit distant worlds without fear of pirates. Children played in the observation decks of passenger ships watching the stars go by. Captain Zektar stood on the bridge of his research vessel, Peaceful Dawn, as it approached Earth for the first time. The ship looked almost new, rebuilt with both Vixian science and human technology. The human engineers had added stronger shields and better engines, making it one of the safest ships in space. "Captain, look at that," his young communications officer whispered. Through the main window, Earth grew larger as they approached. The blue and green planet was surrounded by massive space stations and hundreds of ships. Some were cargo vessels bringing goods from across the galaxy. Others were warships, their dark hulls bristling with weapons. "I have never seen so many ships," Zektar said quietly. "The humans have built an empire without conquering anyone." A human voice came over the radio, calm and professional. "Vixian vessel, Peaceful Dawn. This is Earth traffic control. You are cleared for docking at Luna Station. Welcome to the Sol system." "Thank you," Zektar replied. "It is an honor to be here." Luna Station orbited Earth's moon and was bigger than most cities. Ships from dozens of alien species docked there every day, bringing trade and friendship to humanity. The station was a symbol of human power, but also of their willingness to work with others. Admiral Parker waited for Zektar in the station's diplomatic section. She wore her dress uniform, dark blue with gold decorations that showed her many victories. Despite her fearsome reputation, she smiled warmly when the Vixian captain entered the room. "Captain Zektar," she said, extending her hand in the human greeting. "It is good to see you again." Zektar shook her hand carefully. Human hands were stronger than Vixian ones, but Admiral Parker was gentle. "Admiral Parker, I wanted to thank you personally. You saved not just our lives, but our future." They sat at a table overlooking Earth. The planet turned slowly below them, its cities glowing like jewels in the darkness. Ships came and went constantly, a sign of the peaceful trade that humanity protected. "The younglings from my ship," Zektar continued, "they are studying to become diplomats now. They want to help build bridges between species, like you did for us." Admiral Parker nodded with satisfaction. "That is the best reward we could ask for. We do not fight for glory or conquest. We fight so that children can grow up in a safer galaxy." But even as they talked, dark clouds were gathering. In Admiral Parker's office, Intelligence reports piled up on her desk. The hegemony, a brutal empire that ruled through fear, was moving ships toward the border. Their goal was simple: test human resolve and expand their territory. Commander Jake Morrison entered the room, his face serious. He had been studying the reports all morning, and the news was not good. "Admiral, the latest intelligence from our scouts," Jake said, handing her a data pad. "The hegemony has assembled their largest fleet in decades, 300 ships including their newest dreadnoughts." Admiral Parker read the report quickly. The hegemony had been watching the human response to the pirate attack. They saw humanity's protection of innocent species as a challenge to their own expansion plans. "Their target?" she asked. "The Vixian system," Jake replied. "They want to force us into a fight on their terms. If we respond, they call us aggressors. If we do not, they show the galaxy that human protection has limits." Admiral Parker stood and walked to the window. Below, Earth's orbital shipyards worked day and night, building new ships for the human fleet. The sight should have been reassuring, but she knew the cost of war. Millions would die. Entire worlds might burn. "How long do we have?" she asked. 6 months, maybe less. "Our spies report they are planning to attack the main Vixian colony world first. They want maximum impact with minimum risk." Captain Zektar, still in the diplomatic lounge, received an urgent message from his homeworld. His face went pale as he read it. The Vixian government had detected large military movements near their space. War was coming, and his peaceful people were caught in the middle. He found Admiral Parker in her office, studying star charts with her staff. When she saw his worried expression, she knew he had heard the news. "They are coming for us, are they not?" Zektar asked quietly. "Yes, Admiral," Parker replied honestly. "The hegemony sees our protection of your people as a threat to their expansion. They want to prove that humans cannot protect everyone." Zektar's large eyes filled with tears. "My people have never hurt anyone. We study stars and planets, not weapons and war." "Why do they want to destroy us?" Commander Morrison answered, his voice hard with anger. "Because they can. Because your people are peaceful and cannot fight back. The hegemony rules through fear, and peaceful species threaten their way of thinking." Admiral Parker put her hand on Zektar's shoulder. "Do not worry, Captain. We will not let them hurt your people. That is a promise." "But the cost," Zektar whispered. "How many humans will die protecting us?" "That is our choice to make, Admiral," Parker replied firmly. "We knew this day might come when we decided to protect innocent species. The price of peace is eternal vigilance and sometimes war." As night fell over Luna Station, Admiral Parker stood alone in her office, looking out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the hegemony fleet was preparing for war. 300 ships against whatever humanity could gather. The odds were not good, but humans had faced worse odds before. Captain Ryan Davis entered the office, followed by Lieutenant Colonel Steve Mitchell and several other commanders. These were the people who would lead humanity into its greatest battle. "The fleet is assembling," Ryan reported. "Every ship we can spare plus reserves from the Home Defense Force. We will have enough firepower to match them." "It will not be like the pirates," Steve added grimly. "The hegemony knows how to fight real wars. They have been conquering worlds for centuries." Admiral Parker turned from the window to face her commanders. These men and women had followed her through many battles, and she trusted them completely. "The galaxy is watching," she said quietly. "If we win, we prove that strength can be used to protect the weak. If we lose, the age of conquest begins again. Pirates and slavers will return, knowing no one will stop them." Commander Morrison nodded. "Then we make sure we win." Outside the window, more ships arrived every hour. The human fleet was gathering, preparing for the greatest battle in galactic history. The fight would determine whether the galaxy belonged to those who conquered or those who protected. The age of human guardianship was about to face its ultimate test.